Konnichiwa, minasan. Kyo desu. So, we are going to be reacting to a video of unmarried women in Korea. This is going to be interesting. So, without further ado, ikimashou.
In Korea, of the 7.8 million women in their 30s and 40s, 17.176% or 1.38 million are single. Now, in the 21st century, marriage is no longer a necessity, but rather an option, and many women choose to remain single. Yet, there is not enough social security for them, creating a blind spot of the structural system. Let's learn more about the issue and what needs to be done to improve the current conditions. Chung Eun-mi is a 41-year-old florist who dreamed of becoming a good wife and wise mother as a child. Like the majority of people, she thought she had to get married and form a family when she was younger. But her perspective has changed a lot.
I gained a genuine passion and desire for my career in my early 30s. Therefore, I naturally focused more on my work than romantic relationships, and time passed very quickly.
Chung is not the only one who chooses to remain unmarried. Many women in their 30s and 40s do too. According to the National Statistical Office, 1,384,047 women in their 30s and 40s were single as of 2015, and that figure is more than twice that of 10 years ago. The drastic jump largely resulted from women's increased labor force participation. Also, Korea remains a patriarchal society.
Marriage is not only a union of two lovers, but of families, which I found very burdensome. I wasn't sure if I could take care of all the things that occur in my husband's family while pursuing my career.
Currently, 40% of female workers have irregular jobs and earn about $1,500 per month on average. Indeed, the low income has a negative influence on housing stability.
The majority of single women live alone and the residential environments vary depending on economic status. Naturally, there are concerns about women being targets of sexual assault and other crimes, especially for those living in poorer areas, as it is clear that the number of violent crimes against women has been increasing recently.
A recent survey conducted by the Seoul Metropolitan Government on women in their 40s and 50s living alone, only 36.9% responded that they were preparing for old age. Also, 81.2% of them answered that they were unable to prepare for their later years because they couldn't afford to do so. But there's barely any governmental support for them. 39-year-old Kim Hyun-ju works for the Cooperative Society of an Animal Hospital in Seoul. And she mentioned that Korean single women are stuck in the blind spot of social welfare. More than anything, the biggest fear comes from the fact that there are many structural limits if they suffer from any diseases.
If I needed medical surgery, only my direct family members are eligible to sign the consent form. I currently live with my friend, who is single as well, but she would not be eligible to sign the form, even if my life depended on it.
As a cat owner, Kim formed a gathering of fellow single women with animal companions. The best thing about this gathering is that they have good neighbors to rely on in times of emergency, who also have the same interests and concerns.
There are certain hardships we experience because we chose to remain unmarried. We share those things, relate to one another, and get healed along the way.
Outside the welfare system, single women have to find their own means to secure their futures, and they're calling on a change in the family-centered social policies.
Because the tax system, welfare policies, and even the medical insurance system are designed for families, they alienate unmarried women and single-person households. Therefore, our society needs to find ways to embrace and support them rather than merely trying to treat the symptoms.
For marriage to be truly an option for both genders, the general perception towards singles should be transformed along with new practical policies to meet their needs.
I got a lot to say about this. So, why did we decide to react to this video? I wanted to help paint a picture of Japan's possible future with many of its population not getting married. Now, this is happening in the West as well, as marriage is on the decline. But seeing as Japan and Korea are in very similar situations, you can basically see this happening to a lot of the Japanese women in Japan. A very clear indicator of a very lonely woman is that they tend to buy animals. You often see like lonely women with cats and dogs by themselves. Usually, sometimes it turns into like a horde of them in the house. And you're also seeing a huge trend of many older women who tend to shack up with other single women to try to make ends meet or make things work. And I've said this a few times on my channel, is that marriage is not only about love, it's about duty and responsibility and giving your all to somebody and them doing the same to you. And when you have a country, society where marriage is on a decline, you're gonna have a lot of problems. Why? Because first of all, this has worked for humanity for over thousands and hundreds of years, where traditionally it was the men who would do dangerous jobs and tasks, protect the family, provide the food, all that kind of stuff. And the women would be home taking care of the kids or, cooking food and just making sure the house is met. Now, we live in a more free society where people have the freedom of choice, but freedom of choice doesn't neglect the consequences of your actions, whichever one you take. And similar to Korea, Japan is having a thing where now, because the labor force is low with the workers because there's less children being made, women are now entering the workforce. And what's going to happen is that you find a lot of women naturally, by natural desire, they want to bear kids and they want to have children. Now, is there some ill societal pressures that kind of condemns women who haven't got married at a certain point? Yes, and I believe that's wrong. However, when women are so career oriented, whatever that means, they neglect the fact that eventually you're going to grow old and be alone. And sadly, with women, they age a lot faster than men do, so their sexual organs tend to expire faster. That's why a woman after she's 40 tend to be high risk with the pregnancy, because their body is past their prime, and usually their youth is when you look the best. And of course, you guys know this because Japan and Korea are very traditional societies, but women tend to mature faster than men. They look better than their youth, while men tend to get better over time. Usually a man hits his stride or his prime during his 30s, but women are supposed to mature faster and get their lives in order first, because eventually their physical beauty runs out or their biological functions stop working where they can't bear children. A majority of men want to get married so they can properly bear children and raise a family. But what a lot of people don't understand is that the reason why men tend to make more money is that men generally work longer hours. Men take more dangerous jobs that women usually don't do. Women, when they go into the career field, they usually take like social jobs or medicine or nursing or something in a nice office area, while men are in construction, they're doing funerals, they're the ones, doing all the dangerous jobs and icky jobs, garbage men. These are jobs that women naturally do not want to go into. Not only that, men also go into like STEM fields, like with science and engineering. So naturally, men are more likely to take more dangerous jobs that pay more. But not only that, they work more hours. And not only that, women, they tend to take more safer jobs or more in like a office environment. And they also take a lot of paid time off when they have children. So that's why men make a lot more. And typically, men are the ones that's supposed to be the breadwinner. And again, there's nothing wrong with a woman making money. And there's nothing wrong with a woman going to college, getting her degree. However, when she focuses solely on her career and she forgets about the future, because there is a statistic, I forgot where it's from, but basically most women don't make over $75,000 a year in American dollars. And a lot of these women, because if you're not making over $75,000 as a woman, you're not going to have enough money to retire. And if you look in the video, you'll see that there is a group of women who are older than 40 and are not married, and they don't have enough money to pay their bills, because a lot of these women who focus on their so-called careers aren't really careers. They're just a job. You know, it's maybe a high-paying job, but it's not really a career. And at the end, you would at least have the security of two incomes, a man and a woman. But when you're just by yourself and you're a woman who generally won't make a lot of money because you're not in a field that makes a lot of money, you're going to end up having to, you know, stay with other single women for support. But not only that, women want emotional support. And that's why you find a lot of women tend to buy dogs or cats, because they want that emotional support that they're not getting from a man. And there's even stats in America that are saying a lot of these career-oriented women, when they reach a certain age, they become more miserable because, you know, they go home to an empty bed. They're by themselves. They're lonely. You know, there's no one to die with or you know, develop a companionship with. Now, again, you as a woman, you can make whatever choice you want. However, there's consequences to every choice you make. And what I'm afraid about for Japan is that because marriage is on the decline and women are entering the workforce, what you're going to see is a higher rate of depression and unhappiness in women, because, again, some women are an exception. However, majority of women want to have a family and have kids. But when you're so focused on your career and you feel like marriage is going to hold you down and you can't be free, then you have to deal with the consequences that when you grow older, who's going to pay for your bills? Who's going to sign off on surgeries if you need them? Who's going to be by your side when you're sick? You know, eventually your parents are going to die. Eventually your siblings are going to be doing their own thing. Where are you going to be? And that's my concern, is that not just for Japan, but the whole world, is that marriage is being, I feel like there's an attack on marriage right now. And again, if you don't have that foundation, the basic foundation of any society, the whole country is going to fail. So I wanted to make this video just to really get you guys thinking that what can possibly happen to Japan when they're not having kids to replace the old workers, and you're putting in women in the workforce, and eventually the women's bodies are going to tear you out. And though people are going to complain and say, oh, you're saying women are weak and they're not as strong as men. No, what I'm saying is that men are built to handle danger. Men are more built to handle a lot of pressures, you know, than women are. So, you know, that's what I think. And I think Japan needs to really consider a lot of things, including the West. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with the video? I want to hear your guys' thoughts below on the subject matter. So if you guys like the video, please smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. Also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Arigatou gozaimasu. Minasan. Ja ne.